I realized I was only invited to the bachelor trip because I owned the car and could front the hotel costs. I was sitting in the hotel security office at 3:18 a.m., watching surveillance footage of my so-called best friends rifling through my luggage, when the hotel manager paused the video and asked me a question that made my stomach drop. "Sir, do you want to press charges?" On the screen, frozen in grainy black and white, Dylan was holding my wallet up to the light, counting the cash inside while Garrett kept watch at the door. This was hour 6 of what was supposed to be the best weekend of my life, Aaron Whitmore's bachelor party in Las Vegas, a trip I'd been planning and funding for 3 months. The manager, a sharp-eyed woman named Caroline Stevens, with 15 years in hotel security, tapped her pen against the desk. "We have 4 cameras in that hallway alone," she said. "This is ironclad." I couldn't answer her. My hands were shaking too hard to hold the complimentary water bottle she'd given me. Because what I was watching wasn't just theft. It was confirmation of something I'd been denying for weeks, maybe years. I wasn't their friend. I was their ATM with a reliable car and a clean credit card. The trip had started 6 months earlier, back in February, when Aaron announced his engagement to his girlfriend of 8 years. We'd all known it was coming. He'd been talking about ring shopping since Christmas, but when he actually posted the photo on social media, our group chat exploded with congratulations and, inevitably, bachelor party planning. I'd been friends with Aaron since college, nearly 12 years of history between us. We'd been roommates junior year, stood up in each other's apartments during post-graduation job hunts, attended countless birthday parties and holiday gatherings. When he asked me to be his best man, I didn't hesitate. Of course I said yes. The role came with responsibilities, and I took them seriously. The bachelor party was supposed to be the crown jewel of those responsibilities. A weekend in Vegas, 4 days of shows, restaurants, maybe some gambling, definitely some drinking. Nothing crazy, nothing that would end up on the internet. Just a solid send-off for a guy I considered my closest friend. I volunteered to handle the planning because that's what best men do, and because, honestly, I was good at it. I worked in project management, and organizing trips was basically my job description with a vacation twist. The first red flag appeared in March, during our initial planning meeting at a sports bar downtown. I'd invited everyone to discuss logistics, who was coming, what our budget looked like, where we'd stay. 6 guys showed up: Aaron, Dylan, Keith, Garrett, and 2 other college friends, Nathan and Scott. I'd made a whole presentation on my laptop, complete with hotel options, flight comparisons, and a tentative itinerary. I was halfway through explaining why the Luxor had the best combination of price and location when Dylan cut me off. "Hey, quick question. You're driving, right?" I blinked at him. "Driving? It's a 10-hour trip." Dylan shrugged, exchanging glances with Keith. "Yeah, but flights are expensive, man. Like $400 each. If you drive, that's what, 6 of us splitting gas? $100 each, tops." Keith nodded enthusiastically. "Plus, you've got that Nissan Pathfinder, right? Tons of space. We could leave Thursday night, drive through the night, be there Friday morning." I looked at Aaron, expecting him to shut this down. It was his bachelor party, after all. He should have some say in whether we spent 10 hours crammed in an SUV versus a 90-minute flight. But Aaron was studying his beer, deliberately not making eye contact. "I mean," he said slowly, "it would save money. And you've done long drives before, haven't you?" Something cold settled in my chest, but I pushed it aside. They were just being practical. Money was tight for everyone. This was about being smart with resources, not about using me. I should have paid attention to that feeling. Instead, I convinced myself I was being paranoid and agreed to drive. The trip was set for the last weekend in May, Thursday night departure, return Monday afternoon. I spent the next 2 months handling every detail. I booked the hotel rooms at the Luxor using my credit card because I had the points and could get us a discount. 4 nights, 2 rooms, $1,500 total that everyone promised to reimburse me for by the end of April. I researched restaurants, bought show tickets, even made reservations at a steakhouse for Saturday night. I created a shared spreadsheet where everyone could see the costs and what they owed. The plan was simple. I'd front everything, keep meticulous records, and everyone would Venmo me their share. By mid-April, no one had sent me a dime. When I brought it up in the group chat, I got a chorus of, "Yeah man, soon," and "Payday is Friday, I got you." Garrett sent me a gif of a guy throwing money. Nathan replied with, "My bad bro, totally forgot." The money never came. By May 1st, I was out $3,200 of my own money. I told myself it was fine. They'd pay me back after the trip. People were just forgetful, not malicious. I was being a good friend, a reliable best man. That's what you did for your people. The Thursday we left, I spent 3 hours detailing my Pathfinder. I wanted everything perfect. Clean interior, full tank, all the fluids topped off, tire pressure checked. I'd even made a road trip playlist and bought snacks for everyone. I picked up Dylan first at 6 p.m. because he lived closest to my apartment. He threw his bag in the back and immediately sprawled across the back seat. "Shotguns for Keith," he announced. "He called it yesterday." I didn't remember anyone calling anything, but whatever. Keith climbed in when we got to his place 20 minutes later and immediately reclined the passenger seat almost flat. "Long legs," he explained, though Keith was maybe 5'10". We collected Garrett, Nathan, Scott, And finally Aaron, the groom himself, who emerged from his apartment with a small duffel bag and a distracted expression. His fiancée stood in the doorway, and I saw her kiss him goodbye, watched her wave to all of us crammed in the car. She looked happy, excited for him. I felt a weird pang in my chest, like I was watching something I was supposed to be part of but somehow wasn't. Aaron climbed in next to Dylan, and we were off. 6 guys, 1 SUV, 10 hours to Vegas. The first hour was fine. We were all in good spirits, talking about what shows we wanted to see, which casinos had the best odds, whether the steakhouse reservation was too fancy. I was driving, obviously, because it was my car, and I didn't trust anyone else with it. Keith was supposed to be the navigator, but within 30 minutes he'd fallen asleep against the window, snoring softly. Dylan and Aaron were scrolling through their phones in the back. Nathan and Scott had earbuds in. Garrett was the only one talking, and he was mostly complaining about his ex-girlfriend. 2 hours in, somewhere outside of Barstow, I suggested we stop for gas and bathroom break. Already? Dylan groaned. We just left. We'd left 2 hours ago, and my bladder was protesting the large coffee I'd chugged before picking everyone up. It's quick, I said. 5 minutes. I pulled into a gas station, and everyone piled out except Keith, who kept sleeping. While I was filling the tank, I watched through the window as the guys wandered into the convenience store. They came out with armfuls of snacks and drinks, chips, candy, energy drinks, beef jerky. No one offered to help pay for gas. When I went inside to pay after filling up, the total was $83. I paid with my card, and the transaction felt like a tiny defeat. Back in the car, Dylan offered me a bag of chips. Want some? We pooled our money for snacks. I declined. Something about the casual assumption that I'd cover gas, combined with them pooling money for snacks they didn't offer to share until after buying, made my jaw tight. The drive got worse after midnight. Everyone except me was asleep, sprawled across the seats like I was operating a mobile hotel. The playlist had cycled through twice, and I was on my third energy drink, trying to keep my eyes focused on the endless dark highway. My back ached. My neck was stiff. Keith had woken up once, around 11, and I'd asked if he wanted to take a driving shift. "Oh man, I don't drive stick," he'd said. My Pathfinder was an automatic. He'd gone back to sleep before I could point that out. Around 2 a.m., I saw headlights weaving in the lane ahead and slowed down, cautious. The car ahead was definitely drunk driving, swerving across the center line. I changed lanes, gave them wide berth, and made a mental note to call highway patrol once we were past. That's when my phone, sitting in the cup holder, lit up with a notification. Group chat message. Except it wasn't our normal group chat. The preview showed Dylan's name and a chat I wasn't part of. The message was partially visible on the lock screen. Honestly, just need to make it through the weekend without him being weird about. The light turned off before I could read more. My heart rate kicked up, but I kept my eyes on the road. It was probably nothing. Probably a different group chat about something unrelated. Probably. But my brain kept circling back to those words. Make it through the weekend without him being weird. Who was him? What was I supposedly being weird about? We rolled into Vegas at 6:47 a.m., the sun just starting to paint the desert sky pink and gold. The guys woke up as we hit the strip, suddenly energized by the sight of the casinos and hotels looming up around us. Hell yes, Garrett said, rubbing his eyes. We made it. I was exhausted, wired on caffeine and zero sleep, my body vibrating with fatigue. I'd driven 10 straight hours while everyone else slept, but I was also still the one who had to handle check-in, because the reservation was under my name and card. I pulled up to the Luxor's valet, and we all climbed out, stretching and groaning. The valet, a young guy with a practiced smile, started unloading bags. Checking in? He asked me. Yeah, I said, handing him my keys and a tip I couldn't really afford. The others were already heading toward the lobby, leaving me to handle the bags. I grabbed what I could carry and followed them inside. The lobby was already busy with early morning gamblers and people checking out. I made my way to the front desk, where a tired-looking clerk greeted me with professional enthusiasm. Checking in? Reservation under my name, I said, sliding my ID and credit card across the counter. 2 rooms, 4 nights. She typed, clicked, typed some more. I see you have a block reservation. Let me just verify. Party of 6? That's right. She processed everything efficiently, asked if I wanted to add resort credits, explained the checkout process. The guys were clustered nearby, watching the casino floor like kids outside a candy store. When she handed me the key cards, 4 of them, 2 for each room, Dylan appeared at my elbow. We figured we'd split rooms by who snores, he said casually. Aaron, Nathan, and Scott in one room. You, me, Keith, and Garrett in the other. I didn't remember discussing this, but I was too tired to argue. Fine, I said. Rooms on the 18th floor. We hauled our bags to the elevator, rode up in sleepy silence, and found our rooms across the hall from each other. The rooms were nice, 2 queen beds, a sitting area, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the strip. Dylan immediately claimed one of the beds, flopping down fully clothed. I'm sleeping until noon, he announced. Garrett took the other bed. Keith looked at the small couch, then at me. You good with the couch? I've got a bad back. I stared at him. I'd just driven 10 hours straight. My entire body was one continuous ache, but Keith was already pulling out his phone, dismissing me. I looked at the couch, a small love seat, maybe 5 feet long. I was 6'1". Sure, I heard myself say. The couch is fine. I didn't sleep. I lay on that couch, my legs hanging off the end, listening to Keith snore and Dylan talk in his sleep, and stared at the ceiling. My phone buzzed around 8 a.m., a text in the main group chat from Aaron. Lunch at 1, everyone meet in the lobby. I closed my eyes, tried to ignore the knot of resentment forming in my chest. This was his bachelor party. I was here to make sure he had a good time. My comfort didn't matter. By the time 1 o'clock rolled around, I'd showered, changed, and was functioning on pure stubbornness. We met in the lobby, all 6 of us looking slightly more human after a few hours of rest. Aaron suggested a buffet at the Bellagio, and everyone agreed enthusiastically. We walked over, about 15 minutes in the Vegas heat, and joined the line. The buffet was $38 per person. I watched as we approached the host stand, wondering if anyone would offer to pay their own way this time. The host smiled at our group. 6? Yeah, Aaron said, then turned to me. You got this? I'll Venmo you. The words hit me like a slap, but I was too aware of everyone watching to make a scene. I pulled out my credit card, the same card that had paid for the hotel, the gas, the valet tips, and handed it over. $228 for lunch. The host handed me a receipt, and we were led to our table. I folded the receipt carefully and put it in my wallet, adding it to the mental tally I was keeping. $3,200 for the hotel, $83 for gas, $228 for lunch, over $3,500, and we'd been here less than 12 hours. Lunch was awkward, at least for me. Everyone else seemed to be having a great time, piling plates with crab legs and prime rib, laughing about old college stories. I picked at my food, my appetite gone. Nathan was telling some story about a party from sophomore year, and everyone was cracking up, but I couldn't focus. I kept thinking about that group chat message. Make it through the weekend without him being weird. Was I being weird right now? Was this what they meant? After lunch, Aaron suggested we hit the casino. Just low-stakes stuff, he said. Maybe some blackjack. We found a table with a $10 minimum, and everyone pulled out money. Everyone except me. I'd already spent $3,500. I didn't have gambling money. You playing? Keith asked, sliding chips across the felt. Nah, I said. I'll watch. Dylan smirked. Wise man, don't blow your money before the strip club tomorrow. They played for 2 hours. I stood behind them, watching cards flip and chips slide back and forth, feeling increasingly like a spectator at my own friend group. Around 4 p.m., my phone buzzed. Email notification from my credit card company. Unusual spending pattern detected. Please verify recent charges. I opened it, saw the list of Vegas transactions, felt my chest tighten. I excused myself, mumbling something about needing to call the bank, and walked away from the table. I found a quiet corner near the hotel entrance and sat down, pulling up my banking app. The numbers were worse than I'd thought. Between the trip planning, the hotel, and today's expenses, I'd put almost $4,000 on my card in the past month. My available credit was down to $800. The spreadsheet I'd made, the one tracking who owed what, showed 0 payments received. I opened Venmo. No pending requests, no recent payments. I went to the main group chat, scrolled back through weeks of messages. There were dozens about the trip, excitement about Vegas, jokes about what we'd do, plans for shows and dinners, but nothing about money. Every time I'd mentioned payment, the conversation had shifted to something else. It was like I was speaking a language only I could hear. My hands started shaking, not from anger yet. That would come later. This was something else. Recognition, maybe. The slow, horrible realization that I'd been played. I opened my recent messages and found that other group chat notification from the drive, the one I wasn't supposed to see. I clicked on it, but of course I didn't have access. The preview was all I had. Honestly, just need to make it through the weekend without him being weird about what? About money? About being used? About realizing I wasn't actually their friend? I sat there for 20 minutes, running through every interaction from the past 3 months with new eyes. The way they'd pushed for me to drive, the casual assumption I'd book the hotel, the lack of any pushback when I'd fronted money for everything, the group chat I wasn't part of. It all fit together into a picture I didn't want to see, but I couldn't unsee it now. When I got back to the casino, the guys were cashing out. We're going back to the room to pregame before dinner, Aaron said. Reservations at 8, right? I'd made reservations at Gordon Ramsay Steak for 8 p.m., $60 per person minimum, plus drinks. Another $360 I'd be expected to cover. Yeah, I said. 8 o'clock. We went back to the rooms. Dylan and Keith immediately started pouring shots from bottles they'd bought at the liquor store downstairs, bottles I hadn't seen them purchase. Garrett was changing into a button-down. I sat on the couch, my bed, and watched them get ready for a dinner I'd planned and would pay for. You want a shot? Dylan asked, holding out a plastic cup. I shook my head. I'm good. He shrugged and handed the cup to Keith instead. They took 3 rounds of shots in 30 minutes, getting progressively louder and more animated. I checked my phone. The restaurant reservation was in 2 hours. I had $800 of available credit left. Dinner would be at least $360, probably closer to $500 with drinks and tip. I was going to hit my credit limit at a bachelor party I'd organized for a friend who couldn't be bothered to pay me back. At 7:30, we met in the lobby again. Everyone looked good, dressed up, excited, ready for a nice dinner. I'd put on a blazer over jeans, trying to match their energy, but I felt hollow. We walked to the restaurant, got seated at a round table near the window overlooking the strip. The waiter came, introduced himself as James, ran through the specials. Dylan ordered a $30 cocktail without blinking. Keith ordered a steak and lobster combo. Garrett got the tomahawk ribeye. I ordered the cheapest thing on the menu, a chicken dish, and water. Aaron, sitting across from me, raised his eyebrows. Just chicken? This is Vegas, man. Live a little. I forced a smile, trying to pace myself. The dinner lasted 2 hours. The conversation flowed around me. More college stories, jokes about Aaron's upcoming marriage, speculation about the strip club visit planned for tomorrow night. I contributed when directly asked something, but mostly I sat there, mentally calculating the bill. When dessert came, 3 orders of chocolate souffle that I hadn't ordered but appeared anyway. I excused myself to the bathroom. I locked myself in a stall and pulled up my banking app again. If dinner hit 500, I'd have 300 left on my card. The hotel had already placed a hold for incidentals. If anyone ordered room service or charged anything to the room, I'd be over my limit. I was trapped in Vegas with no money, surrounded by people who thought I was an ATM. When I got back to the table, the waiter was presenting the check. In a leather folder, face down. Everyone was looking at their phones. I reached for it with hands that had started shaking again. Hold up, Aaron said suddenly. Let me see it. I paused. Aaron took the folder, flipped it open, and his eyes widened. $573. He looked around the table. That's like $95 each. Dylan whistled. Damn, those drinks added up. Keith laughed. Worth it, though. They all pulled out their phones. For one brilliant, stupid second, I thought they were going to Venmo me, that this was finally the moment they'd acknowledge the money. Nathan typed something, then showed his screen to Scott. They both laughed. Aaron closed the folder and slid it across the table to me. You got this one, yeah? We'll get the next one. There was no next one. The steakhouse was the planned, nice dinner. Everything else was casual. They weren't going to get anything. I took the folder, pulled out my credit card, and handed it to the waiter. My remaining credit, $227. We walked back to the Luxor in the warm Vegas night, and I felt like I was watching myself from outside my body. This person who kept saying yes, kept paying, kept pretending everything was fine. Who was that guy? Why did he keep doing this? Back at the hotel, Dylan suggested hitting a nightclub. There's one here in the casino, he said. Minimal cover, should be fun. I checked my phone. Cover charge was $30 per person. Drinks inside would be $15 to $20 each. I had $227 to last me 3 more days. I'm gonna sit this one out, I said. Everyone stopped walking. What? Garrett said. Dude, it's Aaron's bachelor party. I know, I said carefully. I'm just tired from the drive. You guys go, have fun. Dylan exchanged a look with Keith. That look, the one I was starting to recognize. The one that said they were having a conversation I wasn't part of. Come on, man, Aaron said. Don't be like that. Don't be like that. Like what? Like someone who'd driven 10 hours, covered $4,000 in expenses, and was now 48 hours without sleep and running on fumes both financially and emotionally? I'm good, I said. Seriously, go have fun. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I walked away before they could argue, headed for the elevators. Behind me, I heard Dylan's voice, low and irritated. See? This is what I was talking about. My stomach dropped. This is what I was talking about. The group chat, the message. It was about me being weird about money, about not wanting to keep funding their vacation. I got to the room, used the key card, and stepped inside. The room was a mess of wound clothes everywhere, wet towels on the bathroom floor, empty bottles on the desk. I sat on the couch and pulled out my phone. I opened the spreadsheet. $4,100 in total expenses. 6 people, including me. Everyone owed $683. I'd received 0. I drafted a message to the group chat. Hey guys, quick reminder about reimbursement. Spreadsheet is updated with all costs so far. Can everyone please send their portion this weekend? I stared at it for 5 minutes before deleting it. They wouldn't pay, and asking would make me weird about money. I opened my laptop instead and started looking at flights home. I could leave tomorrow, catch a morning flight back, be done with this. The cheapest option was $312. I didn't have $312. I was stuck, trapped in Vegas at my own bachelor party that wasn't even mine. I lay down on the couch, my temporary bed, and closed my eyes. My phone buzzed, the group chat. Dylan. Club is sick, you're missing out. Keith. Aaron just got bottle service, this is insane. Aaron. Best bachelor party ever. Thanks for making this happen, bro. That last message felt like a knife between my ribs. Thanks for making this happen. Not thanks for organizing, not thanks for driving, thanks for making this happen. As in, thanks for the money. I turned my phone face down and tried to sleep. I woke up at 2:43 a.m. to the sound of the room door slamming open. Dylan, Keith, and Garrett stumbled in, drunk and loud. They knocked into furniture, laughed at nothing, turned on all the lights. I sat up, disoriented. Dude, best night, Dylan slurred. Aaron is so hammered. Keith flopped onto one of the beds. We should have made you come. You missed everything. I didn't respond. Garrett was going through his bag, pulling out clothes randomly. Where's my phone charger? How should I know? I said. Didn't you have it? Garrett looked at me, eyes unfocused. Can I use yours? No, I said. It came out sharper than I intended. Dylan's head snapped toward me. Whoa, what's your problem? My problem. Where did I even start? Nothing, I said. I'm trying to sleep. On the couch? Garrett laughed. That's your own fault, man. We called beds. I stood up. I didn't know where I was going, but I couldn't be in that room anymore. I grabbed my phone and wallet and walked out, leaving them to their drunken celebration. The hallway was quiet, fluorescent lit, identical doors stretching in both directions. I walked to the elevator, rode down to the casino floor. Even at 3 a.m., it was full of people, gamblers, partiers, staff. I wandered through the noise and lights, feeling completely alone in a crowd. I ended up at a 24-hour coffee shop near the lobby, ordered a black coffee I couldn't really afford, and sat in a booth in the corner. My phone was still getting group chat messages, photos from the club, Aaron with his arm around a bottle service girl, the guys doing shots, everyone looking deliriously happy. I scrolled through them with a detached curiosity, like I was looking at strangers. Then a new message came through, not in the main chat, in that other chat, the one I'd seen during the drive. My phone vibrated with the preview notification, Dylan in Bachelor Weekend. He's being so fucking weird about everything, I swear to God. I stared at the screen. Bachelor Weekend. That was the name of the group chat I wasn't in, the chat about the Bachelor Weekend I'd planned. I clicked on the notification, hoping for once it would open, show me the full conversation. Of course it didn't, but the preview was enough. Another message appeared. Keith in Bachelor Weekend. Just 2 more days we can deal. 2 more days. Deal with me. I was something to be dealt with. My hands started shaking again, harder this time. I set the phone down before I dropped it. The coffee tasted like ash. I sat there for an hour, watching dawn start to creep through the casino's windows. Around 5 a.m., I went back to the room. Everyone was passed out. Dylan and Garrett in the beds, Keith somehow on the floor despite complaining about his back. I lay back down on the couch and stared at the ceiling. In 12 hours, we were supposed to go to a pool party. Then tomorrow night, the strip club. Then another full day on Sunday before driving home Monday. 50 hours left in Vegas. 50 hours of being dealt with by people I'd thought were my friends. Saturday was worse. Everyone woke up hungover and irritable. We got breakfast at the hotel buffet, another $30 each that I paid for, and then it was time for the pool party. The pool at the Luxor was packed, music blasting, people everywhere in swimsuits and sunglasses. We got a cabana because Aaron wanted one, $300 for 4 hours. I stood at the edge of the pool area while the others jumped in, playing chicken and splashing around like kids. Dylan waved at me from the water. Come on. I shook my head, gesturing to the cabana. Someone should watch our stuff. It was a lie. I just couldn't pretend anymore. I sat in the cabana, in the shade, watching my friends have the time of their lives on my credit card. At some point, a cocktail server came by. Can I get you gentlemen anything? Dylan, dripping wet, plopped down in the cabana. Yeah, get us a round of shots. Like 6 of those watermelon ones. She nodded, walked away. Wait, I said. That's getting charged to the cabana. Yeah, so? Dylan said. The cabana was under my card. I was about to explain this when Keith and Garrett came over, laughing about something. The server returned with 6 shot glasses filled with bright red liquid. Everyone took one except me. You're not drinking? Aaron asked. He looked genuinely confused, like I was the weird one for not wanting to celebrate. I'm good, I said. They shrugged and took the shots. The server brought the check, $48 for 6 shots. I signed it, added tip, felt my credit limit get tighter. This happened 3 more times over the next hour. By the time we left the pool, I'd spent another $200 on drinks I didn't have. Credit remaining, negative $15. I was over my limit. When we got back to the room to change for dinner, I excused myself and went to the bathroom. I locked the door, sat on the edge of the tub, and opened my banking app. The screen showed the dreaded message, credit limit exceeded. Recent charges may be declined. I had maybe $60 in my checking account. My next paycheck was 9 days away. I was functionally broke in Las Vegas with 3 days left in the trip. My chest felt tight, breathing shallow. Panic attack, I recognized distantly. I'd had them before, in college during finals week. I focused on breathing, counting inhales and exhales until the room stopped spinning. When I came out, everyone was getting ready to head to dinner. Another restaurant, another check I'd be expected to cover with money I literally did not have. Hey, I said to Aaron, catching him alone for a second. Can we talk? Sure, what's up? The money situation, I said carefully. I've covered a lot so far, and I'm kind of tapped out. Do you think people could start paying their own way? Aaron's expression shifted. Not quite annoyance, but close. I mean, you said you'd handle everything up front. That was the deal. The deal was I'd front costs and people would reimburse me, I said. No one has paid me anything yet. Dude, it's been 2 days. We'll square up after the trip. I literally don't have money left, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. My card's maxed. I can't cover tonight. If this story keeps your interest, please subscribe to get more stories like this. Aaron sighed, running his hand through his hair. This is why Dylan said, look, never mind. Okay, fine. We'll pay for our own dinners tonight. But this is kind of a buzzkill, you know? It's my bachelor party. This is why Dylan said. My vision tunneled. What did Dylan say? Nothing, man. Forget it. No, I said, my voice harder. What did Dylan say about me? Aaron looked uncomfortable. Just that you might be weird about money. That we should be prepared to cover some stuff ourselves. Weird about money. There it was again. I was weird about money because I didn't have an unlimited supply of it to fund their vacation. I've spent over $4,000 on this trip, I said quietly. I drove 10 hours while everyone slept. I've covered every meal, the hotel, the cabana, all of it. And I'm weird about money? Aaron held up his hands. Whoa, nobody asked you to do all that. You volunteered. Those words hit like a physical blow. I'd volunteered because I was the best man, because I thought that's what friends did for each other, because I thought I mattered to these people. You're right, I said. I did volunteer. My mistake. I walked out of the room, out of the hotel, into the Vegas heat. I didn't have a plan. I just walked, block after block, past casinos and restaurants and tourist traps, my mind spinning. Nobody asked you to do all that. Maybe they hadn't. Maybe I'd created this situation by being too eager to help, too willing to say yes. But that didn't explain the secret group chat. That didn't explain, just 2 more days, we can deal. That didn't explain anything except that I'd been used. I ended up at a small park a few blocks from the strip, sitting on a bench, watching people pass by. My phone kept buzzing, group chat messages asking where I was, when I'd be back, whether I was okay. I ignored them. Around 8 p.m., Aaron called. I let it go to voicemail. He called again. I answered. Where are you? He asked. Out, I said. We're at dinner. You coming? Did everyone pay for themselves? Silence. Aaron, did everyone pay their own way? Look, we're here now. We already ordered. Just come eat. That's not what I asked. More silence. Then quietly. I covered it. I put it on my card. My stomach sank. Not because he'd paid, though that was something, but because of what it meant. He'd had money the whole time. They all had money. They just hadn't wanted to spend it when they had me. Thanks for telling me I volunteered, I said, and hung up. I sat on that bench until midnight, watching the lights of Vegas blur together, wondering when exactly I'd become someone people could use and discard. My phone died around 1 a.m. I walked back to the hotel in silence. No music, no distractions, just my thoughts and the sick realization that this wasn't friendship. It never had been. When I got back to the room, everyone was asleep. I grabbed my laptop, crept into the bathroom, and locked the door. I needed proof. I needed to see those messages, to confirm I wasn't crazy. I opened Instagram, Facebook, every social media platform. I searched for tags from the trip, checked everyone's stories. Most were public, photos of the pool, the club, the casino, normal bachelor party stuff. But then I found Keith's Twitter, which I'd forgotten he even had. Private account, but I followed him from years ago. I scrolled through his recent tweets. From Thursday night, 10-hour drive and dude won't even let someone else take the wheel LMAO. From Friday, when her friend acts like he's doing you a favor by planning a trip he's not even paying for DY. From today, Saturday. 2 more days of this awkward energy, then I'm free. I screenshotted all of them. Then I found Nathan's public Snapchat story. A video from the club last night. The guys all together, Aaron in the middle, everyone's arms around each other. The caption, best bachelor crew, minus the weird energy from you-know-who. You-know-who. Me. The guy who'd made this trip happen. I took screenshots of everything. Then I opened my email and started composing a message to myself, attaching all the evidence. Dates, costs, receipts, screenshots, a comprehensive record of exactly how I'd been used. I didn't know what I'd do with it yet, but I needed it documented. I needed proof that I wasn't imagining this. When I came out of the bathroom, Dylan was awake, getting water. Where have you been? He asked. Out, I said. Look, about earlier. Don't worry about it, I said. It's fine. I'm handling it. His eyes narrowed. Handling what? Nothing. Go back to sleep. I lay down on the couch, stared at the ceiling. My phone was charging on the floor next to me. As soon as it powered back on, it exploded with notifications. Missed calls, texts, group chat messages. I ignored all of it except one notification, an email from the hotel. I opened it. Dear guest, we have attempted to charge your card on file for room incidentals. The transaction was declined. Please update your payment information at the front desk to avoid service interruptions. My card was declined. The hotel knew I was broke. I checked the time, 2:47 a.m. The front desk would be dead quiet right now. I could slip down, explain the situation, maybe put a different card on file. Except I didn't have another card. I had $60 in checking, and that was it. I grabbed my wallet and room key and headed for the elevators, trying to think of a solution. When I got to the lobby, the front desk clerk, a different woman than check-in, younger, looking half asleep, greeted me with professional courtesy. "How can I help you?" "I got an email about a declined card," I said quietly. "I need to update the payment method." She typed, brought up my reservation. "Yes, we have several charges pending. Room service from last night, minibar items, the cabana rental. Total is about $640. Do you have another card?" $640 in charges I didn't make. "What room service? What minibar items?" She checked the screen. 2 orders of room service to room 1847, charged last night around midnight. And the minibar shows several items removed from both rooms. Room 1847, Aaron's room. They'd ordered food and charged it to my card. And someone had raided the minibar. "I didn't authorize those charges," I said, trying to keep calm. "Can you show me what was ordered?" She pulled up the details. Room service, 2 steaks, sides, desserts, total $312. Minibar, assorted liquor bottles, candy bars, soda, total $98, plus the cabana rental, $300. My card had been declined for $640 of charges that weren't mine. "There must be a mistake," I said. "Those room service charges, that's not my room. That's room 1847. "Yes," she said patiently, "but the block reservation is under your name and card. All charges from both rooms are assigned to your master account." "Master account, my account. Everything they spent, I paid for." "Can you reverse the charges from the other room?" I asked. "I'll need manager approval for that," she said. "But it's the middle of the night. She won't be in until 7 a.m. I stood there, feeling the walls close in. I could wait until 7, talk to the manager, explain I was being taken advantage of. Or I could go back to the room and confront the guys about running up charges they knew I'd have to cover. Or I could just leave. Walk out of this hotel, catch a bus to the airport, fly home somehow. Except I had $60 and no way to buy a ticket. "Is there a problem?" the clerk asked. "Yes," I wanted to say. "I'm trapped in a nightmare where my best friends are bleeding me dry and I can't escape." "Can I speak to the manager in the morning?" I asked instead. "Of course. I'll leave a note that you need to discuss the charges." I went back to the room, defeated. Everyone was still asleep. I didn't even try the couch this time. I grabbed a blanket and pillow and went to the hallway, found a quiet alcove near the ice machine, and tried to sleep sitting up. This was rock bottom. Sleeping in a hotel hallway because I couldn't afford to exist in the room I'd paid for. Sunday morning, I was at the front desk when it opened at 7. The manager, Caroline Stevens, listened to my explanation with a neutral expression. "So you're saying the charges to room 1847 weren't authorized by you?" "They were made by the other people on the trip," I explained. "The block reservation is under my card, but they ordered food without asking me." She nodded slowly. "I understand. Unfortunately, when a block reservation is made under one card, that card is responsible for all charges across the linked rooms. It's in the terms you agreed to at check-in." "I didn't know that," I said. "I thought each room would be separate." "I can see how that would be confusing," she said kindly. "Look, I can remove the charges this one time, as a courtesy. But going forward, if you want the rooms separated, you'd need each room to provide their own card." Relief flooded through me. "That would be amazing. Thank you. Let me just pull up the account." She typed, frowned. "Oh. What?" "There are additional charges from this morning. Room service to 1847 again, ordered about 30 minutes ago. Another $170. I closed my eyes. Of course they were still doing it. "Can you remove all the charges and separate the rooms?" I asked. "Please?" She worked for several minutes, clicking and typing. "Done. The charges are reversed, and going forward, room 1847 will need to provide their own payment method for any additional expenses. Is there anything else?" "Actually," I said, thinking quickly, "can you make sure my room key is the only one that works for my room? I don't want the others coming in while I'm not there." She looked at me with something like sympathy. "Absolutely. I'll reprogram the locks now." I thanked her and went back upstairs, feeling marginally more in control. When I got to the room, it was empty. Everyone must have been at breakfast. I checked the minibar. Empty except for peanuts. They'd taken everything. I sat on the couch and opened my phone. The group chat was full of messages from this morning, planning the day. Dylan. "Brunch at that place near New York, New York?" Aaron. "Sounds good. Everyone cool with meeting at 11? Keith. "Did someone order room service? I'm seeing weird charges?" Garrett. "Probably just the hotel being weird, ignore it." They knew. They knew they were charging things to my card and didn't care. I felt something shift inside me, something that had been bending under weight for months. It snapped. I opened my laptop and pulled up all the screenshots, all the receipts, all the documentation. Then I started writing. Not a message to the guys, not a confrontation, a post. For Reddit, for social media, for anyone who would listen. I wrote out everything: the invitation, the planning, the costs, the group chat I wasn't in, the tweets and messages mocking me, the room service charges, all of it. I wrote it like a story, because that's what it felt like. A story where I was the punchline. I didn't post it. Not yet. Instead, I saved it as a draft and went down to brunch. I found them at a restaurant in the New York casino, already seated, already eating. I slid into the empty chair. "Morning," Aaron said cheerfully. "We ordered for you. Hope that's cool." A plate of eggs and bacon sat in front of the empty seat. I looked at it, then at him. "Who's paying?" The table went quiet. Nathan said. "We figured we'd split it." "Great," I said. "How much do I owe?" Dylan laughed uncomfortably. "Dude, relax. It's like $15. "Perfect." I pulled out my phone, opened Venmo. "Who do I send it to?" The guys exchanged looks. That look. The one I was so sick of seeing. "Seriously?" Keith said. "You're being weird about $15? There it was. Weird. "Yeah," I said flatly. "I'm being weird. Just like I've been weird about the $4,000 I've spent on this trip. Just like I'm weird about the room service you charged to my card last night without asking. Just like I'm weird about sleeping on a couch while you guys take the beds. I'm super fucking weird." Aaron set down his fork. "Where is this coming from?" "Are you kidding?" I said. My voice was louder than I intended. People at nearby tables were looking. "You guys have been using me this entire trip. Actually, longer. You only invited me because I have a car and a credit card." "That's not true," Aaron said, but he wouldn't meet my eyes. "Really? So the group chat called Bachelor Weekend that I'm not in, that's not about planning this trip behind my back?" Dead silence. Garrett's face went pale. "How do you—" "It doesn't matter how I know," I said. "What matters is that you all knew. You knew you were using me, and you did it anyway. You made fun of me for it on Twitter. You laughed about it. You ordered $300 room service and charged it to my card, and you knew exactly what you were doing." Nathan opened his mouth, closed it. "Look, Manau." "Save it." I stood up. "I'm done. I'm leaving. The room is separated now, so you'll need your own card for any more charges. The hotel is paid through Monday, so you can stay if you want. But I'm driving home today, and I'm going alone." "You can't just leave," Dylan said. "It's Aaron's bachelor party." "Then maybe Aaron should have paid for it," I said. I walked out of the restaurant, out of the casino, back to the Luxor. My hands were shaking, but this time it was adrenaline, not panic. I'd actually done it. I'd stood up to them. When I got back to the room, I started packing. I threw my clothes into my bag, grabbed my toiletries, checked for anything I might have missed. The door opened. Aaron came in alone. "Can we talk?" he asked quietly. I kept packing. "Nothing to talk about." "I didn't know they were making fun of you," he said. "The group chat, I'm in it, but I don't check it that much. I didn't see that stuff." "But you knew I was paying for everything," I said, turning to face him. "You knew, and you let it happen." He had the decency to look ashamed. "I thought you were okay with it. You said you'd handle planning and you seemed excited." "Of course I was excited," I said. "You're supposed to be my best friend. I thought planning your bachelor party meant something. I thought doing this for you mattered." "It does matter," Aaron said. "You mattered enough to bankroll your party, but not enough to be included in the group chat about it," I said. "You mattered enough to pay for everyone's meals, but not enough for anyone to pay me back. Do you know how that feels? To realize the only reason you're somewhere is because of what you can provide?" Aaron looked at the floor. "I'm sorry. Really. I didn't think about it like that." "That's the problem," I said, zipping my bag. "You didn't think about it at all. None of you did." "What about the drive back?" he asked. "How is everyone supposed to get home?" I stopped, looked at him. "The same way you were going to get here if I hadn't offered to drive. Figure it out." His eyes widened. "You're seriously leaving us in Vegas?" "You're grown adults with money you didn't want to spend," I said. "You'll be fine. Buy a plane ticket, rent a car, take a bus. I genuinely don't care anymore." I grabbed my bag and walked past him. He didn't try to stop me. I took the elevator down, checked out at the front desk. Caroline gave me a sympathetic nod, and headed for the parking garage. My Pathfinder was exactly where I'd left it, covered in Vegas dust. I threw my bag in the back, climbed into the driver's seat, and just sat there for a moment. The silence was incredible. No one demanding anything. No one expecting me to pay or drive or handle things. Just me and the road. I started the engine and drove out of the garage into the bright Vegas morning. My phone started ringing almost immediately. I ignored it. It rang again. And again. I pulled over at a gas station just outside the city, filled up the tank, $80 on my debit card, leaving me with -20 in my checking account, and checked my messages. 15 missed calls, 37 text messages. Group chat was exploding. Dylan, this is so fucking childish. Keith, you realize you're screwing over Aaron on his bachelor party, right? Garrett, we're supposed to be friends and you're just abandoning us? Aaron, please come back, we can work this out. Nathan, how are we supposed to get home? Scott, Dude, this isn't cool. Not one apology. Not one acknowledgement of what they'd done. Just anger that I'd stopped being useful. I turned off my phone and got back on the road. The drive home was the longest and shortest 10 hours of my life. Long because I had nothing to distract me from my thoughts. Short because I'd never felt freer. I stopped once, around the halfway point, at a rest area. I sat at a picnic table, ate a protein bar I'd found in my glove compartment, and opened my laptop. The post I'd written, the full documentation of everything that had happened, was still in my drafts. I read through it, edited a few details for clarity, and then I did something I'd never done before. I posted it. To Reddit's relationship advice forum, to a throwaway Twitter account, to my Facebook with everyone blocked except mutual acquaintances who weren't on the trip. I titled it, I realized I was only invited to the bachelor trip because I owned the car and could front the hotel costs. Then I closed the laptop and kept driving. I got home around 2 a.m., Monday morning. My apartment had never looked better. Small, quiet, mine. I fell into my bed and slept for 12 hours straight. When I woke up Monday afternoon, my phone was still off. I charged it, made coffee, and finally powered it on. 214 notifications. The post had blown up. Thousands of comments, hundreds of shares. People were outraged on my behalf, sharing their own stories of being used by friends, offering support and advice. Some were telling me I'd overreacted, that I should have communicated better, but they were drowned out by the overwhelming support. And then I saw the messages from people I actually knew. Co-workers who'd seen the post. College friends who weren't on the trip but knew everyone involved. Aaron's fiancé CE. That one made my stomach drop. I opened it. I need to talk to you. This is not okay. Call me. I called her. She answered on the first ring. Is it true? She asked. No hello, no preamble. I knew what she meant. Yes. Silence. Then quietly. All of it? The money, the group chat, everything? Yes. She made a sound like a sob or a laugh, I couldn't tell. Aaron told me you bailed on the trip. He said you got weird and left everyone stranded. He didn't say any of this. I have receipts, I said. Screenshots, bank statements, all of it. I can send them to you if you want. Please. I sent her everything. Every receipt, every screenshot, every piece of documentation, the total cost breakdown, the tweets, the group chat messages I'd managed to capture, everything. She called me back an hour later. I can't believe him, she said. Her voice was shaking. We've been together 8 years. We're supposed to get married in 4 months, and he did this to you, his best friend. I'm sorry, I said, and meant it. You don't have to be sorry, she said. You're not the one who should be apologizing. The next few days were chaos. Aaron's fiancée confronted him. He admitted everything, tried to downplay it, claimed he didn't think it was a big deal. She postponed the wedding. Not canceled, postponed. She wanted time to think about whether she was marrying someone who could treat his supposed best friend like an ATM. The other guys started getting fallout too. Keith's girlfriend saw the posts and dumped him. Dylan's employer, he worked in finance ironically, got wind of it because a coworker saw the viral post and recognized him from the screenshots. He got called into HR to explain why he was publicly mocking someone for financial struggles. Garrett, Nathan, and Scott just went silent. No apologies, no contact. Fine by me. The most unexpected thing happened on Wednesday. I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. Is this the guy from the Vegas bachelor party post? A woman's voice asked. Yes? My name is Jennifer Wu. I'm a producer for a digital media company. We'd like to interview you about your experience. We're doing a segment on friendship and financial abuse. I blinked. Financial abuse? What happened to you is a textbook case, she said gently. Using someone's resources without reciprocation, isolating them from group decisions, gaslighting them about reasonable boundaries. It's abuse, and it's more common than people think. I'd never thought of it that way, but hearing it laid out like that, yes, it was abuse. I did the interview. It aired the following week. My face was blurred, voice distorted, but the story was mine. The segment went viral too, bigger than the Reddit post. Major news sites picked it up. The Hidden Cost of Friendship, one man's story of financial manipulation, ran on 3 different platforms. Aaron called me after the segment aired. I let it go to voicemail. He called again, and again. Finally, I answered. What do you want, Aaron? Can we meet up? He asked. I want to apologize properly, in person. Against my better judgment, I agreed. We met at a coffee shop near my apartment, neutral territory. He looked terrible, tired, unshaven, older than his 31 years. We sat across from each other in silence for a full minute before he spoke. I'm sorry, he said, for all of it. I was a terrible friend. Yes, I said. You were. I talked to my therapist. You have a therapist now? Since Sunday, he said. My fiancé insisted. Couples counseling and individual. The therapist helped me see how badly I treated you. How we all did. I sipped my coffee, waited. The thing is, Aaron continued, I think I did know, on some level. I knew we were using you. I knew the group chat was shitty. that the money situation was unfair, but it was easier to just not think about it, to let you handle everything and pretend that was normal. That's not an excuse, I said. I know, he said. It's an explanation, not an excuse. I was selfish and lazy and I took you for granted because you kept letting me. That stung, but it was true. I had let them. I'm paying you back, Aaron said. Every cent. I tallied everything from your receipts. It's $4,163. I'm wiring it to you today. What about the others? Dylan's paying his share. So is Keith. The rest? I'm covering it. It's the least I can do. I nodded. Okay. I also called off the wedding, he said quietly. I looked up, shocked. What? Not permanently, he said. Just postponed indefinitely. My fiancée said she needs to see me actually change before she'll marry me. That what I did to you showed her a side of me she never knew existed, and she's scared of it. Good, I thought, but didn't say. I deserve that, Aaron continued. I deserve all of it. The postponed wedding, losing you as a friend, everything. I just wanted you to know that I understand now. I understand what I did, and I'm sorry. I believed him. For the first time in the whole conversation, I believed him. Thank you, I said, for the apology and the money. Is there any chance? He started. No, I said, cutting him off. We're not going to be friends again, Aaron. Maybe someday we can be cordial, but we're not friends. You broke that. He nodded, looking down at his coffee. I understand. We sat in silence for another minute. Then I stood up. Take care of yourself, Aaron. You too, he said. I walked out of the coffee shop and didn't look back. That afternoon, $4,163 appeared in my bank account. Wire transfer from Aaron Whitmore. I stared at the notification for a long time. Then I paid off my credit card, put the remainder in savings, and closed that chapter of my life. 3 months later, I got a message from Aaron's fiancée. They'd gotten back together and were going to therapy together. The wedding was back on, scheduled for next spring. She wanted to thank me for exposing the truth, even though it had nearly destroyed her relationship. He's different now, she wrote. Really different. I don't know if we would have made it if you hadn't done what you did. I was happy for her, genuinely. But I declined the wedding invitation when it came. Some bridges, once burned, aren't meant to be rebuilt. I saw Dylan once, randomly, at a grocery store 6 months after Vegas. He saw me, froze, then quickly pushed his cart down a different aisle. Good. I had nothing to say to him anyway. The story had one final twist I didn't expect. About 8 months after everything happened, I got an email from a guy named Thomas Ashford. He'd been part of a similar bachelor party disaster 3 years earlier, saw my viral post, and reached out. We became friends, real friends, the kind who split checks and communicate openly and actually care about each other. He introduced me to his friend group and slowly I rebuilt what I'd lost. Better this time. Healthier. I learned something important from the whole disaster. Being useful isn't the same as being valued. I'd spent years making myself indispensable to people who saw me as a resource, not a person. Never again. These days I'm careful about boundaries. I'm comfortable saying no. I let people prove their friendship before I invest in them. And I never, ever front money I can't afford to lose. The Reddit post is still up, occasionally getting new comments from people going through similar situations. I don't check it much anymore. That chapter is closed. But sometimes, when I'm feeling reflective, I'll scroll through the comments and remember how alone I felt in that hotel hallway at 3 a.m., sleeping sitting up because I couldn't afford to exist in the room I'd paid for. And I'll remember walking out of that Vegas casino into the morning sun, finally choosing myself. Best decision I ever made. If you made it this far, thanks for reading. And if you're in a situation like I was, being used, being taken for granted, being told you're weird for having boundaries, get out. You deserve better. I promise you, you deserve better. Thanks for watching till the end. Make sure to subscribe and like to not miss the next story.